focus on the other big story, and it's a big CNN News 18 exclusive. On the occasion of Bharat's 77th Republic Day, as Bharat flexed its military muscle, treachery has been caught on tape on the other side across the border behind enemy lines. CNN News 18 has accessed exclusive videos where terror Tanzims have been caught plotting in Pakistan. Two aspects. One, they are trying to make a political move. Two, their claims of redrawing the map of Bharat. Their claims of having deep penetrations into Bharat. Their claims of eventually changing the very structure framework of Bharat still remains. So the Jihadi soch is still there. Terror Tanzims linked to the banned terror outfits Jamaat-ud-Dawa, Lashkar-e-Taiba have openly issued threats against Bharat from public platforms in Pakistan. Also, the Jaish cadre, they are actually combining ranks, and especially in Bahawalpur, we saw them combining ranks, declaring their intent to pursue Kashmir Jihad, even alter Bharat's map. Now, the statements captured in the exclusive videos accessed by CNN News 18 point to a worrying re-emergence of jihadi groups operating freely under Pakistan's current military-led suspension. At a public gathering in Rahim Yar Khan, now it was in Rahim Yar Khan that one of their air bases was demolished, Saifullah Qasuri, top Lashkar commander, and also claimed to be, or what Bharat believes is the mastermind behind the Pahalgam terror attacks. And Professor Ataullah Gilzai, a close aide of Hafiz Saeed and leader within the Jamaat-ud-Dawa, they were seen addressing supporters with incendiary rhetoric. The leaders not only issued direct threats against Bharat but also openly called for cooperation with the Pakistan army, underscoring what Indian intelligence agencies describe as a continuing overlap between Pakistan's state institutions and proscribed terror entities. Security agencies assess that these statements come in the aftermath of Operation Sindoor, suggesting that Pakistan's military leadership under General Asim Munir has yet again allowed extremist groups space to regroup and issue threats as part of a familiar pressure strategy against Bharat. More importantly, viewers, radical extremist entities are now being given a free play on the political landscape also. Listen in to these sound bites.
संदे फरागत हासिल कर रही है और इंशाअल्लाह ये अपनी मंजिल की जानिब रवा दवा हो रहे। एक दाइयान किराम और मुअल्लिमीन इस्लाम का एक मजमुआ तैयार हो रहा है। इंशाअल्लाह बहुत जल्द वक्त आएगा, बहुत जल्द वक्त आएगा भाइयों। ये पाकिस्तान इंशाअल्लाह मदीना मुनव्वरा का इस्लामी फलाही मुआशरे का रंग इंशाअल्लाह पेश करेगा।
We have accessed multiple videos. We'll play out the next one too. Going first across to Lieutenant General D.P. Pandey. Now, this begs the question, Lieutenant General D.P. Pandey, what's the point of demolishing structures if the thoughts has not yet been eliminated?
Yeah, so I think we've discussed multiple times on your channel that ideology is a virus which is once radicalized is very difficult to go. It mutates, it bides its time, and thereafter comes back with more virulence and more power. It just moves a little bit back. So therefore, destruction of terror assets or infrastructure is not a solution, but to contest the ideology is important. What has happened is that Operation Sindoor ensured a certain degree of fear in the mind of the radicals and the military as well. But as they were hit so badly, it pushed them back into some recesses, which has now allowed the Pakistani military had to actually allow them enough space, not only for fanning their ideology, but also to gain some amount of political space, because that was important. Because there's a pushback from the terrorist groups in Pakistan to take some space, because they were not adequately protected by the Pakistani military, and there was not enough response by the Pakistani military to the attacks which took place, especially on the headquarters of Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish Mohammad. Right. So I think this is the first thing. The second point I just want to put quickly across is that Asim Munir is reading the tea leaves. You know, Americans have allowed shake hands with the with radical of the most radical groups which are operating on this earth, and that is ISIS, and you know what has happened to Syrian leadership and all. This entire thing is allowing Asim Munir to take certain advantage to give open reins to the radicals in his own country. So there is one facet of internal, a pushback, and second is what they are watching external, that this is doable. If Trump can do it, why can't I also do and use the paramilitaries and the political force of this thing? And the concern for us is that the threat which he is giving is not empty, right? He's talking of something internal, and we can talk about it later.
No, not just internal. We'll just elaborate on it a bit before I bring in our other guests also, General Pandey. The fact is, one, they say they can penetrate deep into Bharat. That means they still have those who espouse that ideology within our country. That's one. This radical extremist ideology is being parroted over across on the other side, the eastern side in Bangladesh also.
Yes.
So there seems to be a playbook which goes beyond demolishing structures in Operation Sindoor.
So this playbook is not a new playbook, it's an old playbook. The only thing is Operation Sindoor has opened it wide. So at times it's very important that such actions ensure that you are visible, the enemy is visible, the virulence is visible. So when they make a statement that got deep connects inside, it is not about Jammu and Kashmir, please forgive my saying, but it is all across wherever it is possible. And second is with the online radicalization connections which are possible. If you see on the eve of Republic Day, you had about 1,000 kgs being discovered or recovered by the police from Rajasthan. So these are not of this thing. These are all efforts of the intelligence agencies which are coming out. But the effort of the radicals driven by the Pakistani mindset of actually nurturing trouble for India from within is ongoing. And if we are not aware, we don't look at the terror into the eyes, we are in for a tough time.
Right. But Rohan Gupta, what's the point of an Operation Sindoor and demolishing terror markazes or centers when the terrorists themselves roam free? Saifullah Kasuri is the mastermind as alleged and as claimed by the Indian authorities of Pahalgam. And he's still roaming free. He's delivering political speeches right now.
See, that's what Operation Sindoor was the first answer by India to ensure that ghar mein ghus ke marenge. This is the first instance where the retaliation by India is not limited. India is not only limited to the border or LOC. It went beyond that. We went to their points and we attacked there. So this is a clear-cut message. This is the India that this is not going to be just limited to giving dossiers and all. We will ensure that we go and hit their terrorist points or the military places from where the attack on India happens. But actually, you are right. Limiting ourselves to that is not enough. Operation Sindoor has to go beyond that, and that's what the Indian government says, that Operation Sindoor is still continued. We will ensure that even in future we see this kind of accumulation or motivation by the Pakistan army on this. Obviously, India is open to taking actions. So this is not the same India will just keep quiet or maybe just send the dossier. We will ensure that even if any kind of even try of doing that kind of activity, India is going to retaliate in a very, very strong way.
Does the BJP convince you, Nikul Patel?
I would like to say that anyone who is doing terror activity and want to change the maps of country will not happen, because their dream is right from when Indira Gandhi ji had changed the map of Pakistan. Since then, they have never been succeeded in getting the things done. And as a present government or the past government, we have always tried to counter those terrorism, even though we have tried very hard to get into our country, destabilizing the government every time. But we and our army are very strong enough. We will just support government for any activity which is against the India, as we have supported during the time of Operation Sindoor. During the time of Indira Gandhi, we have not come under any international pressure, and we have done the best to the larger interests of the country. We expect the same thing from our present government, that if anything is needed, then you must start going against it rather than just taking a call that Operation Sindoor is still running.
Anand Ranganathan?
Good evening, Anand, and good evening to my fellow panelists. While I agree largely with all the points raised by my three fellow panelists, let me just add this as a layman, of course, that I'm afraid we are missing the woods for the trees. And I want to exemplify what I mean very quickly within a couple of minutes. Number one, to try and teach Pakistan a lesson time and time again is, to be honest, running a fool's errand. Why do I say this? Because the entire state is a terror state. You might attack a few hubs, maybe, sometimes like we did 11, you might attack 20 next time or 30. Will you be able to attack 3 million? You can't. The state subsists on terrorism. Under such circumstances, it is folly on our part if we believe that we will be able to stop terror on our soil perpetrated by Pakistan by directly attacking Pakistan. We can do it, we can probably ebb it, but we can't stop it. For us to do that, we need to do two things. And I really implore the government and, through Rohan, Mr. Modi, that this has to be done on an urgent basis. We've already started on one, which is fantastic, which is putting the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance. That is an amazing leverage that we have. It's almost a tap on, tap off to tell Pakistan, you perpetrate something out here, we turn the tap off. You behave yourself, we allow the tap to be on. And the second, and which is more difficult, and here the government hasn't really acted in the last 11 years, is I keep saying, we're looking at the hyena outside our home, but ignoring the elephant in the room. Why is it that even though there are 4 states that share more border with Pakistan than Kashmir does, most of these issues only happen in Kashmir? It is because of local support. As the good general said, the ideology transcends borders. Even in the Pahalgam attack, is it not true that the NIA has actually arrested more than 15 locals? So obviously there is local support. We have to immediately do something and redress the demography out there. Number one, the Kashmiri Hindus must be taken back to Kashmir to redress the demographic change that has happened there. And we also have to start thinking seriously along the lines of the Singapore ethnic situation that they have. They had the demography thing, because unless we improve there, I'm afraid, as I said, this is a fool's errand.
General Pandey, agree, disagree?
I think I totally agree, because through violence, even if we go for a number of attacks and we do any amount of physical damage, of course, punitive punishment is important to correct the path, but putting across economic challenges, isolation of through diplomacy, all those things are important. But I think we need to look at the basis which he's talking about internally. These are not mere threats. There are places. You just look at the simple thing. When a Vande Bharat moves from a place, why does it have stones thrown on it from a particular area? These things have to be talked about, discussed, and then brought into open. Putting it underground will only allow is prospering, because everybody, any radical mind thinks silence of the government, the state, is actually acceptance of the power. And till the time you're not getting after them, it will be very difficult. And it's not about BJP government ruled state or non-BJP government ruled state. I think we need to use technology to ensure that the online radicalization which is happening should not happen. Those content which is coming across from all over the place should be actually controlled and managed. It may look at as something about censoring part, but it is very important that the young minds are not affected by the virulence which is coming across from the world. And by the way, is India only affected with this radical thought and ideology? I don't think so. There are large parts of the world which are now combating these challenges. The name of Singapore has been given by Dr. Anand. The Saudis are combating. There are Kuwaitis, Qataris, UAE. Everybody has got systems in place to manage this radical thought. Just because we are a mix of a population we claim to be secular doesn't mean that we don't put in security parameters in terms of information warfare, in terms of checks and balances within our own country. And trust me, when you put all these boxes, you check in all these boxes, all these major nations who are actually ruled by the Islamic law, they will agree with us that what you're doing is right. And they will possibly even suggest us how to go about it. Because why are these threats not emanating in these countries? Because they got wonderful checks and balances put in place, and that is what we require to do it here.
Right, but these nations also are fighting battles of their own. They are, some of them fighting with each other. But Rohan, the criticism coming the way of the BJP is that you are very good at raising the rhetoric, but you are not apt at quelling the radicals. Whereas in other governments, the rhetoric may have been toned down, but the radicals were quelled. Now that's an argument. Even with the case of Sindoor, the rhetoric is very high because you destroyed the structures. But you gave them advance warning for them to be able to clear out the jihadis from there, and you just bombed empty buildings. That's the contrary. Yes, you may have shown the gumption to go and penetrate the dushman, but you did not go ahead and neutralize the dushman. That's the criticism coming the BJP's way. Is that fair or not?
No, Anand, I think
you have to see.
No, Anand, just a minute. I generally don't intervene, but let me correct this perception. Right, there were 9 terror locations hit. Right, 2 of them were headquarters. Right, any sensible person, any sensible organization, and trust me, these radicals are far more survivalist and sensible. They will take measures, but I'm quite surprised that you're forgetting, or the people who are blaming BJP or anybody are forgetting that those dead bodies were lying in which the Pakistani army officers, senior officers are paying, whatever the prayers they were doing. But I am quite sure that a large number of terrorists were killed, but killing terrorists is not the only answer.
Correct.
Right? We need to quell the mind on the either side of the border across.
Yeah, that's true. So what I'm trying to say is that you dented them, you hit them, you hurt them, but you did not deter them. And that deterrence will not come till the time the heads of the hydras are chopped off. Because the fountainhead of this thought has not yet been chopped off. They are still prospering. From the 90s onwards, Dawood downwards, and then his ilk, Hafiz Saeed, his ilk, Masood Azhar, his ilk, Salahuddin, his ilk, this entire lot is still there. You may neutralize, but there are still those fountainheads who are pushing this thought process. You've not been able to do that, Rohan. That is the criticism that's coming towards the. I'm not saying I agree, disagree, or I endorse, don't endorse. I'm saying this is what is coming your way. How would you defend it, or how would you counter it?
See, there is a basic difference here. I completely agree with you that just, retaliating to Pakistan is not going to solve the problem. If you retaliate today, they will do it again. What is the basic difference which is now under BJP rule? If you see Jammu Kashmir, when Operation Sindoor happened or Pahalgam attack happened, you see the local support, the major local support was with India. That is a basic change which BJP government is able to bring, is the difference in the perception or the narrative which is built in Jammu and Kashmir, which was never there. I don't agree. I agree with the fact that maybe even now also there is some little local support. I completely agree with Anand, but that is going down, and we have to ensure as Indian government that support is completely over. The radicalization, whatever happens in the world, we are not concerned. But as far as India is concerned, we have to ensure that we attack this radicalization inside the India. We protect our country from this thing, and as a holistic approach, whatever it requires to be done, dividing Pakistan into 4 parts, playing diplomatic, we have to continue both the wars together, and that's why we cannot stop Operation Sindoor. It has to continue.
Now, is it going now or is it growing now? That's in terms of radicalization in Jammu and Kashmir. Did you rush to comply with the Supreme Court rather than convince it that this is not the right time for elections? The Al-Falah module shows that it is going out of Jammu and Kashmir and growing on the rest of Bharat. So there is a serious issue in terms of how you would want to view what is happening in Jammu and Kashmir right now. And even in this current setup, is it allowing them to actually regroup after 5 years of cutting down and trying to really chop off those heads which were trying to breed radicalism in Jammu and Kashmir? This reads serious introspection, sir, because what many people believe is it is going out of Jammu and Kashmir and growing in the rest of Bharat. Nikul Patel had a point, and then Dr. Ranganathan. Yes.
I have a small point to raise, because Operation All Clear, initiated by the present government in Jammu Kashmir, claimed of removal of all such radical groups from the state. But still, if you see the people like whom you are showing on your television stating that we will be able to change the maps of the Bharat, is really questionable. And I would like to ask the present government that whatever steps has been initiated, I think they must roll look into it, and also the radical people who are still activated or still going to work on it, their technology as well as our armed forces must look into it, which will help us to eradicate such peoples from our state. And we must then focus on our borders, because initially
Right.
we need to work internal security first.
Right. At least they are not taking pictures and selfies and inviting them into their private chambers and offices at the highest levels of government. At least those days are past us, Nikul Patel. And the other part is radical fools still will dream. It's just that we've got to replace them with nightmares so that they don't dare to dream either. So that's what we need to do as a nation. That's where I'm trying to pitch. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan, final comment.
No, very quickly, again, great points made by everyone. I just said we have to change our perspective. Let me give you one example. You know, the good general said quite correctly that the terrorists who were killed by India during Operation Sindoor, their funerals were attended by the Pakistani generals. What more proof that you want that the entire state is a terror state? We condemned it. We want to act against those people who attended the funerals of terrorists. But I ask Rohan, what did we as a state do about the tens of thousands of Indians who attended the funeral of terrorists out here, Burhan Wani? Or even of, Nasrallah, who's a Lebanese terrorist. And, there were funerals held in Kashmir. Or Yahya. Did we do anything? How many of those were chased and persecuted? Please tell me the number.
I think it's a good question, Anand. But now I'm taking the counterpoint here. After Operation Sindoor or attack in Pahalgam, generally you see that whenever this kind of attack happens, you will see support in favor of Pakistan. Maybe stone pelting supported by this kind of activities. This is the first time, Anand, and I'm telling you with authority that this kind of support was not there for Pakistan. People, locals were against this Pahalgam attack because it directly attacked their rozgari, their employment. After Pahalgam attack, what Kashmiris have lost is beyond the comparison. They know that fact now. They know that now they are in mainstream. They cannot afford this kind of activities by Pakistan. They know that,
Right.
talking about Pakistan now is counterproductive. That kind of mindset has gone into people of Jammu and Kashmir because they have reaped the benefit of Viksit Bharat or Viksit Jammu and Kashmir in last 5 years, where there is employment for everybody. There
Right.
is, flourishing of hotels and tourism
Right.
and everything.
I'm just
so
saying-
this is the basic difference I will tell Anand what has happened in last 4-5
Sir,
years.
Dr. Shaheen was head of Jaish-e-Momina. That is a Jaish wing of women in Lucknow. She was not in Jammu and Kashmir. The Mirzapur conversion gang is about 10 individuals, and it's a family-run business with more than 50 women who they are targeting in terms of their conversion factory. They are in Uttar Pradesh. The explosives were found in Gujarat and in Haryana.
It's moving out.
Yeah, so
Karan, I'll make a very small comment.
That's what I'm trying to flag, sir. That you can't sit on that pause button for too long because
Absolutely.
it should not be too late.
There is no pause button.
On that note, I'm going to wind this up. I thank all of you and wish you
Thank you.
greetings and Jai Hind, sir. Thank you.